Welcome back. You're still watching E-Vibes, the entertainment show on Signature TV. This is the conversation segment. Right here with me is Mr. T, who is an African movie soundtrack producer. We'll be talking about scoring the emotions, crafting soundtracks that tells a story. Thanks for joining, Mr. T.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So let's talk about your craft here. Can you walk us through your journey in a few minutes?
Okay, so this is a journey of about over 2 decades, and it's been amazing. It's really been amazing. However, with its own challenges, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but in all, it's been a beautiful one so far.
Okay. So, Mr. T, where did the name Mr. T come from? Because of course, we got to find out that you're a renowned African magic movie star soundtrack person that gives us those emotions, those, literally, like you said,
Exactly.
soundtrack.
Yeah.
As a soundtrack, 20 decades rather. So, where did Mr. T come from?
Okay, so before becoming a film composer, I've always been a multi-award-winning music producer.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was named after a very famous music producer in the US called Tom Brooks.
Are you serious?
It was so they felt I was influenced by him.
Yeah.
So that they had to call me that. On the long run, the name took over.
Okay.
That some other group of people abbreviated the name and
Okay.
called me T instead of Tom Brooks.
Okay.
So another group of persons came up again with Mr. T, and it sounded good. And I thought about it. I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, it wouldn't be a good idea, being called someone else's name. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when the Mr. T came out, I felt, okay, this sounded good. And ever since, it robbed me of my real name.
Nice. What's your real name then?
My real names are Uche Timothy Israel.
Oh. All right, nice. So that's where the T came from. Timothy
Exactly.
then.
But it's a good thing for me. I feel it's an advantage since I have a T name.
Killing two
However,
stones with one bird.
you understand.
Okay, let's dive into the topics here. What comes to your mind at initial stage when, first of all, do they give you people's scripts, the soundtrack producers?
Okay, so yes, it depends on the kind of project.
Okay.
Sometimes they want you to just do what we call sound designs.
Okay.
Those can be also called moods for the movies.
Okay.
So sometimes they want you to also do the theme song for the movie also. So it depends on what kind of what you're supposed to do for the project. But most of the time, yes, they bring up the script.
Yeah.
Then you go through them to understand at least the story, and then afterwards they provide what we call a preview copy.
Okay.
So if you are going to be scoring, so you have a picture to score for. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that's how it works actually.
Nice. So after going through the script and what to score for, right? Because initially I felt maybe they tell you, oh, the title of this movie is E-Vibes. So we need an E-Vibe sound, right?
Exactly.
Because I don't want to sound bad, but when I was younger, right, when I watch movies and I hear those songs and music,
Yes.
I always think that somebody in the background
Behind
is
the
singing.
film.
Honestly speaking, I always feel there's someone in the background with a microphone singing.
I know.
To it. And those times during
Yes.
what's the name? Was Sophia and the Lights?
Yeah.
Their movie is comedy.
Yes.
And the sound is
Most
always,
of the time music.
you understand
You're
what
right.
I'm saying.
You're right.
So now, what process do you all go through when crafting out the sound? You've talked about you have to score the script and all that. So what other process do you go through?
Okay, so for me, film is a perfect intersection between music and storytelling.
Okay.
And those two are the most beautiful thing I love to do. When I get a script, I interpret the script, I visualize it to understand what kind of approach that the movie would need.
Okay.
So afterwards, we get to the stage for scoring, where this is where you now need a preview copy to see what they've been able to do on set. For example, we're talking an action movie now. So there's an action scene that actually deserves or demands an intense tension sound.
Okay.
So because of what you view on the screen, you can tell and you can be inspired on what exactly it is you need to do to interpret that scene properly.
So that means, sorry to cut you
You're
short.
welcome.
So that means you have to wait until everything is being produced.
Yes, for the cinematic films, that's for the big screens.
Okay.
Yeah. When we did, by the way, I didn't mention, I was part of the journey for 76.
Are you serious?
Yes, I was also nominated too for the AMVC for it. So,
wow.
yes. So during that process, before we got the preview, we already had the story. So we recorded the things that we needed to record based on the story that was told.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, a preview was provided where we had to go through, those emotional time and see all that we need to do. We had to record. In fact, I remember I recorded with the African vocals because it was such a big film that demanded that kind of quality. So we did all of that, and at the end of the day, thank God it came out big. It won the best international movie of its year. So yeah, those are the process for these things.
All right.
Yes.
So you decide the kind of emotion,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Not the director deciding.
Okay, sometimes they can give you a clue of what they think they want, but I'm the sound person here.
So you know what's better.
What is best for the scene? Like I earlier mentioned, for me, music and storytelling they're the most beautiful thing I love to do. So sometimes I try to tell stories via my sound. And now because it's movie making, so there are no limits. You can, we can be as weird as we want to be, because I get inspired most of the times by nature, to want to know what exactly I need to do. So once they give you an idea, what you need to do is perhaps polish whatever idea it is they've given you, make it come out a lot more
So
better.
you have to imagine if the audience can be able to
Relate
connect
to it, exactly.
to the sound, and
It has to be, a movie is called make believe.
yeah.
So you must have to come to that point of making it become really real, like appear real. So if I'm creating an ambience for a certain scene,
Yeah.
I should imagine what it would look like if it was real, if it was real life. So if it needs me to travel to wherever, maybe get to the sea to get the sound from from the sea, or maybe go wherever to get whatever sound, I would have to go sample that sound, get it done. So all of this is to be able to have a complete view, a complete real view. So at the end of the day, when you watch, it looks like it's real. Sometimes you end up crying. Why? Because they say I do that a lot too. You end up crying. We make you cry. So controlling emotions, actually, those are what we do. Yeah.
Do you think the soundtrack producers are not giving enough credits as they should?
Maybe before now, yes, but now I feel the game has changed. I mean, things keep changing by the day. I feel I can only say because we are not always in front of the camera.
Exactly.
So the face isn't there. But for someone like me whose name has even outgrown my face.
Yeah.
So I feel for me that's what matters most. My most connection and my most concern is on the job, and always making sure that I keep the niche where it should be.
But what advice would you give to them? Would you say they should, let's talk about awards, right?
Yep.
When they're giving awards, maybe I'm wrong, they give best actor, best actress, best director, producer, things like that. I think it's even initially they started giving awards to
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think some 5-10 years back they started introducing the part for post-production.
understand?
Yes, but then the good thing is that we're here now. I mean, the recognition is here already. So yes, like I earlier mentioned, I've been nominated for a lot of big movies. I've won several awards within and outside the countries too. So the good thing is that the recognition is there, and then that's why we need to keep upping our games, because when you do, even when it is not in the system somehow will find a way to recognize you
at any point.
Do you understand?
That's
how it works.
Just like the graphic designers,
exactly.
they don't. Most times they don't know
who is who exactly. I agree with you.
All right, so we have one of your sound. We're going to play that right now.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
That brings my next question, right?
That's good.
Let's move to the beat. How do you come up with tension scene, romantic scene, action scene and all that?
Well, the story tells you all of that. I mean, there is a story already. You're working alongside the story. So the story already gives you an idea of how to approach it. So all you need to do is to align to the story and make it sound real. Now, here is the thing. Aside, after creating the creating process and all, which is one of the things I also enjoy doing, we'll get to another stage where we'll call the technical part now, where we'll do what we'll call dialoguing, mixing, mastering. You know, like you earlier said, some of those old movies, when you realize that sometimes when you watch, you always have your remote at your hand, because sometimes the volume comes so up,
yes,
and at a point you're going there, you know, because
yes,
you know, it's not, you don't have a level, a stable level, audio level, but all of that has changed now because all thanks to technology. So this time we'll go through what we call dialoguing. This is where you treat the audios, whatever background noise you have perhaps from the set that you do not need for the movie, you get to work on all of that. And then while you do that, you're also making sure that the sound designs you're creating is not struggling with the waves, I mean the vocal, the things that the actors are saying in the film. So because sometimes you see that these things can be some serious issues for some low budget movies, by the way. So for the movies I do, these are the process afterwards that you can do the mastering, the final master, that at the end of the day when it comes out, everybody is like, ooh, wow, you know.
What's the biggest challenge soundtrack producers go through?
I don't know about other people, but for me, I've always loved to put myself in that spot for bigger challenge. And how that is this. I can remember there was a movie I did. I needed a crowd sound.
Okay.
I needed a sound that could, you know, I needed something to sound like a, you know, a busy marketplace.
Okay.
So we tried in the studio, you know, we did multiple recordings to want to achieve that, but at the end of the day, it wasn't so real. But I remember that I had to travel with my crew. We went to a market. We set up inside the market and we started recording sounds from the market. You know, so I didn't know people captured that movie. That's the pictures of our journey in the market. It was later on I saw it and I was like, yeah. Well, so these are the things. For me, I feel it's a serious challenge, because if you really must have to get this thing right, then you would have to go through the right process in making. I have some foreign international movie composers that I follow also, and I see what they go through trying to do. Sometimes you would need a live band of orchestras if you don't want to go monophonic, and you know have to record all of them. Sometimes it's a movie scene that demands a little child's voice.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as a man, I wouldn't be able to do that. An adult female might not be able to get that texture. So we'll have to struggle to find a little child, teach him or her what it is that we need them to do. So all of this is just to make sure that we achieve, you know, the scene and make sure everything aligns together.
So do you follow trends?
Nah.
You don't follow trends, right?
I don't.
So what advice would you give to somebody that wants to be in the movie industry but not necessarily be an actor, to be a soundtrack producer? Well,
there's no two ways about it. It's a practical journey.
Okay.
So you'd have to still go through the right track. I mean, through the right. I mean, I don't follow trends because trends don't last. So yeah. So I try as much as I can for everything I do to have my signature on it, and that can stand the test of time. And I think that's why you have me here.
Thank you very much, Mr. T. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for the conversation.
Thank you so much.
I had quite an interesting time.
Myself too. I did too.
I did play games with you because I don't have time.
Oh wow.
Maybe next time.
That's fine. That's
all
fine.
right.
That's totally fine.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.